Hi guys, and welcome to Reading Bliss. My name is Maria. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, not Facebook, sorry, Ravelry, Twitter as Kiwi Ria, and on Goodreads as Maria M. It is now just past 1 p.m, which means that in Denmark there is 1 hour left of the Readathon. So I thought it was time to make a quick catch-up video. I'll also be posting reviews on Goodreads, but I just wanted to wrap this up since I also did an introduction video. So sorry, I'm going to ramble because I'm tired and I'm book hungover, but I just wanted to get this out. My mom and sister arrived half an hour before the readathon started yesterday. We got settled with books and snacks. My sister had made some amazing cookies and proceeded to have an absolutely amazing time just reading together. Like I said in the introduction video, this is the second time they've joined me and it's just so much more fun with people around. I had not expected that, but I absolutely love it and hope that they'll continue to join me for the next readathons. My other sisters might also join. Actually, my youngest came over for the last 4 hours yesterday, or my amazing husband went to pick her up. So she got to join in for a bit too, which was also amazing. She brought her 4-month-old daughter, which was a bit of a distraction, but a very happy one. I was very pleased to have her. But like I said, it was so good to have them here, so I'm kind of missing them today when I'm just sitting reading by myself. Still, that does mean that I'm doing more mini challenges now. I'm starting to think those two might be related. Anyway, on to the books. I've read about 1,300 pages and 6 books so far. And with 1 hour to spare, I'll probably not have time for much more. But while this is a record page-wise for me, don't be too impressed. Some of it are graphic novels like this with very, very little writing at all. So, but it's a readathon, it still counts. Right, the books. Like I mentioned, I started with A Dip in the Ocean by Sarah Outen, which turned out to be a really, really amazing story about this young woman who rode all by herself all the way from Australia to Mauritius. I think it's about some 3,000 miles, have no clue what that is in kilometers, and it took her 124 days. Such a fascinating story. I would show it to you, but actually my sister decided she wanted to read it and didn't finish by the end of the time she had to leave yesterday, so she took it home with her. But it is so good. I highly recommend it if you at all like memoirs, travelogues, that kind of thing. I do, so I loved it. It was a really, really good way to start the readathon. I can't remember which came next. It was either a graphic novel or it was this one, The Strange Library by Haruki Murakami. My sister actually read this as her first book, and her comment when she finished was, "This was weird." So I had to read it to see what prompted that response, and she's totally right. It is so weird, and not really good weird. It's more weird for the sake of being weird, which has always seemed kind of pointless to me. At least it was a quick read. I mean, lots of pictures, some of the pages hardly had any writing at all, so it took me no time to read. But I have no clue what he wanted to say with this book. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to getting on Goodreads and reading some of the other reviews to see if that'll help me understand it any better. Weird. So after this, I decided I needed something light, something easy, something fun. So I picked up the graphic novel version of Neil Gaiman's Coraline. I haven't read much Neil Gaiman, like I said in my introduction video. I've never read this one, but I've heard lots of good things about it, so I figured I'd give it a shot. It's on my iPad, which I'm currently using for recording, so I can't show it to you, but it's just a normal graphic novel and nothing special, but I rather liked it. It was a good read. So after these two short books, I was ready to tackle something a bit longer and decided to pick up Skyggen and Skyg, The Shadow of a Cloud, which is a pretty standard run-of-the-mill YA book. Nothing special, probably not something I'd read again. It's not really a book that appeals to an adult, so if I'd read it for the first time now, I probably wouldn't think too much highly of it. But I did enjoy it. It was fine, and I can totally see why it appealed to me as a teenager. It was first published in Denmark in 1992, and I think I read it very shortly after that. So I'm glad to have reread it, because it's been on my shelves for a while, and I've been wondering why I couldn't remember anything about it. Once I actually picked it up and started reading, I realised that things would come to me slowly. About 2-3 pages before it actually happened, I could remember what will come next. So that was kind of a fun experience. I think it was about 10 o'clock last night when I finished this book, and my sisters and mum were getting ready to leave. So I knew that the next book I picked had to be something that could hold my interest in the late hour, and so I wouldn't end up going to bed instead. So it should either be a reread by a favourite author or something totally new and captivating. I went for new and captivating, The Book of You by Claire Kendall. I just picked this up on a whim in London airport last week. It's about a stalker, which has always both scared and fascinated me. And, oh man, it totally fit the bill. It was completely unputdownable, absolutely terrifying, not the kind of book you want to read when you're home alone after dark. I actually tweeted to this effect, and Claire Randall herself found my tweet and wrote back, which was somewhat of a thrill. She thanked me for my comments and apologised for scaring me, but totally worth it. I got about 1/3 done. By this time it was 1:30 AM, and I knew I had to go to bed. So fortunately I was able to sleep, even though I was completely terrified by the book. I got up early this morning to finish it, and fortunately it's not nearly as scary in the light of day as it was after dark. It's 360 pages long. The first 330 pages I absolutely loved. Could not put it down, would not have put it down if it wasn't for the fact that I needed sleep. Unfortunately, the last 30 pages fell a bit short, or rather it employed one of my biggest pet peeves in literature, which I'm not going to get into because it's a major spoiler, but yeah, I'm still debating how to rate this book for Goodreads. But the first 330 pages, fascinating. I finished this at noon, so with 2 hours left I knew I had to pick something short in order for me to finish it before the end of the readathon. I managed a little too well and actually picked something so short that I finished it just before starting to record this. It was An Age of License by Lucy Nestle. At least I assume the K is silent. I read her memoir Relish, a couple of years ago and loved it, so I knew I wanted to read more of her. And when I found this and Displacement, her other travelogue in London, I knew I had to have them. And I was right. It was very, very good reading. I loved it. In this book she actually travels to Europe, which means I knew a lot of the places, which just added to the charm for me. And as you can see, very little writing, so a super quick read. Which means that I now have, looking at the clock, 40 minutes left before the end of the readathon. Not much time at all, but should be enough to finish one of my childhood favourites. I first discovered The Babysitter's Club when I was in New Zealand. It was actually one of the series that taught me how to read English, and I still love them. Don't know whether to say that they're my guilty pleasure or not, because I'm not ashamed to admit I like them. So yeah, and each book usually takes me 35 to 45 minutes, so with a bit of luck I should be able to finish this by 2 PM. And with that said, if I aim to have a chance to do that, I have to end this here and say, let me know if you have any childhood favourites that you still read. And let me know if you did the readathon, and I hope you had fun. Bye!